live where I'm actually gonna have to move the camera again. The sunlight was blocking it. The sunlight was coming through, and it was doing that annoying thing that affects the camera. And I know if I was watching something and that light was coming through, um, oh god, I know that I'd be obviously like pretty annoyed by it. So welcome back to another stream. This is another this weekend's Antics stream. If you don't know how these work, basically if something happens at the weekend, so if I haven't got a booking and I do some music related things and some good stuff goes down, I'm at some events and stuff, then I'll just do like a little this weekend's antics and sort of documentation of what I've done over the weekend. And this weekend has been a hectic weekend. It's been a tiring weekend. It's been a fun weekend. It's been a busy weekend, and it's been a good weekend for music as well. So we might as well start obviously at the beginning, which is Friday. That is when everyone's weekend starts. Some people say it starts on Thursday if they don't work on a Friday, but Thursday to me is still just a weekday, so I don't think it does start early. And it only ever extends if there's a bank holiday, which there is one coming up. Right, so Friday was a really fun and enjoyable day. So Friday, I headed over to Leeds and I hit up a place called Pirate Studios, and I've never been before, never been to Pirate Studios before, and it was just something that I've always heard about the place. I've always seen videos of the place. I've always seen people go into it and stuff like that. But I've just never been myself, and I always sort of wondered, what's it actually like there. And so essentially, a friend of mine had booked out the studio, and he was just essentially going down there on his Todd, and no one was really coming. So he put like the feelers out online. I've got Pirate Studios who fancies coming down and having a little bit of a jam. And me being me, I thought, well, like I say, I've not been in there before, so it was kind of a little bit like, yeah, let's go and check it out, and let's have a little jam at the same time. So I went there, and my thoughts on the place is it's actually a really cool place. It's not somewhere I'd probably want to go all the time because it's actually quite costly. It's like £20 an hour, apparently, for the studio. I mean, I didn't pay for it this time. I just obviously went. My friend had paid for it, and I just went and met him there, and we went in the studio. So it was kind of the treat was on him, if you like. But it was a really cool place. It's a bit of a weird place. It's definitely not what I expected it to be. But in some terms it kind of was at the same time. So essentially it's like a big warehouse unit, and there's loads of like little rooms, like little wood that have been made within this sort of like big warehouse unit, and they've all been soundproofed, and they've all got these big doors on them with codes, and they've just essentially got like music stuff in them. So you can book like smaller rooms and bigger rooms, and essentially, to cut the story short, you just go in and have a jam. So the room we went into was like quite a small room, but you go in and there's like CDJ 2000s. There's like a 4 channel DJ M900 mixer. There's some real nice Pioneer speakers. You get a microphone, and you can just jam essentially. You just go in there and you just jam, and the decks are all like linked and everything. So you just take a USB stick, plug it in, and just essentially go really. And yeah, you can record your mixes in there. You can control the lighting as well. So you can like obviously like change the color of the lighting in the studio. Like I say, everything's soundproof, so you can't really hear what's going on in the other studios unless like you sort of like stop all your music, and then you can just slightly hear what's going on in like say the studio next to you. But other than that, like everything's pretty soundproofed, and you're sort of pretty quiet in your own sort of like little room really. And it was just it was an experience to go in there and see what it was like, and just see how the vibes were rolling in there really. And yes, you probably are looking. I am still in pajamas. I'm just chilling today because when you have this busy weekend, it takes it out of you. So yeah, so it was really good. And then I went on from Pirate Studios, and I headed over to Sheffield and hit up an event called Chain Reaction. And this was an event that I wasn't originally planning to go to, just because I didn't really know much about it, to be honest, and I wasn't really sure what it was. And then I was at my stomping gig a couple of weeks ago, and some like one of the promoters of the event and his daughter came to stomping, and um, there was flyering. And I'd apparently seen this girl before and had a picture with her in another rave, and she was like, are you going to come to this event? We've got the layman down and stuff, and like, oh, you should come to it. And I was like, yeah, oh, I've seen the flyer, like, I do know which one you're on about. And there's kind of like, oh, you've got to come to it, and like, we want you to come to it. And I was kind of like, all right, yeah, yeah, I'll come to it. Lee's going, so I'll just go with Lee. So I hit up Chain Reaction. It was for Sean's birthday, one of the other promoters of the event, I believe, and just it was a really good atmosphere, really good vibes, and it was just enjoyable. The music was banging. Um, it was just something that was enjoyable. And I meant sorry, I've met a lot of people. I do apologise about someone in our house, and their gob is like, I mean, I thought I talked loud, but Jesus Christ. It's like an amplified voice. Like, if she was an MC, do not give her a microphone, because she'd be clear enough without a microphone. But yeah, so it was a really good little birthday party vibe. And I saw a lot of people that I know from like other raves and stuff like that, and it was really enjoyable. And if I've sort of not learnt over the weekend, but if I've sort of realised one thing over the weekend, is just how much love that I get from people. Like people at raves and stuff, and people who are just absolutely sound, and just how you can go to these events and you can go to these raves, and I travel to some of them on my own. I go to some of my gigs on my own. No one travels down with me. And it's just so nice. You get into these raves, and then it's just like, you're in a big room with all your friends, and you get made, like, I've been made to feel so welcome in these raves. And this is why I love the music and everything that I do, because like when I was growing up, I was like as I've said before on streams, that I was heavily bullied, and nothing ever really seemed to fit. And then whenever I did something music related, it always seemed to work. It always just seemed to not do too bad. And I know I originally gave up DJing for bullying all the way back in like 2014. But everything just feels right, and something's always like dragged me back to the music. I've tried so many different things, and music related things just always seem to work. So it's just so nice going to these raves, and seeing all your friends, and just being reunited with people in like one big room essentially. And like I say, it was a really good vibe at Sean's party. So we left. We called into McDonald's, and we grabbed a little bit of munch, because obviously, I was starving, because I hadn't really, in all fairness, I had a bit of food like earlier on. I think, with Lehman himself, I had a bit of food with Lehman himself. And but it wasn't much. I just grabbed like a sausage sandwich, and And then by the time, obviously, it got to like sort of like 9:30, 10 o'clock, and I was leaving Leeds to go to this event. I was going for another train. I was going to call into a Macca's, and then just time sort of ticked on. I had to get on the train and then get to Sheffield, and it was kind of like, get into the event and stuff. So I didn't really end up sort of eating from sort of feeling hungry to, like I say, to sort of eating at like sort of like 4 in the morning at the McDonald's near Goole. So we grabbed a bit of food, and I eventually got in about 5:30, going up for 6 o'clock in the morning, which is quite late. It's sort of starting to hit morning then. Um, Fell asleep, and I think I woke up like about 1 in the afternoon or something like that. So I'd had a good bit of sleep. But when you wake up and you don't feel like you've been asleep, and you're still aching and you're still tired, it was actually it was actually really weird, and I just felt so like drained and done in. And I didn't really do anything all day apart from go on FL Studio for a bit, which I'm actually on that at the moment. And then we had another event to hit up. So on Saturday, we hit up Michael Kirby and Cole's event, and it was a faction. They had the likes of Andy Whitby, Distorted Dreams, Andy Freestyle, Top Groove, and a couple of other people, Kirby, Holty, Cole himself, and SMD, I think his name is, or Schmid or something like that. I can't remember exactly how you say his name. And that was just an absolutely belting vibe. So that event had actually sold out. They'd sold all the online tickets, and I think you could only sort of pay on the door. And the place was rammed. The place was heaving. When we got there, it wasn't like packed, but it was filling up nicely. And just from when we got there, it got busier and busier and busier. And even like quite later on in the night, where you'd think like, oh, most of them will be here now, and there were still people coming in. Like that's how crazy it was. And the sound system was banging. The lighting was banging. The drinks were, well, I mean, we just got cokes, but they were quite a decent price at the bar, to be fair, to get yourself a drink at the bar. 130 for a coke was not actually that bad. They were just essentially tipping a can of coke into a cup, but sometimes you go to like I've been to clubs before where you paid like £3 for a coke, and it's not even being like the proper coke, and then they water it down by putting ice in the cup, and it just doesn't taste nice, and you pay like over the odds for it. So the drinks were really good. The only sort of thing, like, and this event was perfect. It was banging, but there was only one thing that I would only say and recommend, and that it was too warm in there. So in the actual like main arena itself, where the stage is and the dance floor, it was absolutely sweltering in there, and it really just needed some form of air conditioning in there, or just a little fire exit, being left open. But apparently they can't open them fire exits for health and safety. But it was just really warm, and I wasn't the only person to say that it was really warm. But other than that, it was an absolutely perfect night, and everyone seemed to enjoy it. And again, just going there and seeing people that I know as well, and seeing people, that I see at other raves as well, was just also an absolutely amazing as well, because you make friends, and then you don't always see them for a while. So especially if there's a good sort of like few weeks, sometimes a couple of months before you're at the same rave again. Because not everyone goes to every rave that you go to. So sometimes you see them at one event, and then you don't see them again for a while, and then you go to another event, and they'll be there, and then you haven't seen them for a while. So it's really nice to get that sort of really nice to get that love and buzz and stuff like that. And it was just an amazing weekend. So this event finished. I think it finished at 2. It started at 7, and I think it finished at 2. And we left sort of about 1:45 to 2, just near the end. And we headed back for another McDonald's at the same McDonald's. We went there 2 nights in a row. Um, Grabbed a little bit of grub, and I think we got. I think this time we got home about 3:30, maybe like 3:30, 3:45 or something like that. By the time we'd like eaten and stuff, and by the time we'd got out the venue and got on the road and stuff, so it wasn't as late as the night before, and then I think I slept in until about 11:30 or something, 11 o'clock. And to be fair, I don't feel too bad today. I feel a little bit like not like I did yesterday. It's almost like I feel a bit tired, but I don't feel like I did. Like whereas yesterday I felt like real tired and achy, and it was almost kind of like today, like I felt a little bit refreshed. But when Whitby was on yesterday, I really did not half stomp to his set. And he absolutely smashed that set to smither fucking reams. Sorry for the language, but he actually really did. And I was stomping all the way through to the point where I was actually dripping with sweat, and people was actually looking at me as well, like this guy's going for it. There was like a group of girls, about 3 of them, and they kept like looking, and I think it was kind of making them laugh as well because I was just going for it. But when Whitby's on one, and Whitby's just absolutely tearing a set to pieces. And a lot of people like slate him. They call him Andy Shitby, and or he just plays the same sets all the time. But he actually played a little bit of a different set today, and I notice I'm a big I'm one of these like ravers who like I like to take notice, and I like to listen to people's sets as well. And not just rave because it's banging music. Like some people will go there and they'll have a good time, but they won't remember half of the tracks that were played. Whereas me, I like to watch people mix, and I like to see what they're doing, and I'm because I'm an enthusiast about music as well, and I've got a passion that goes beyond just raving on a dance floor, to the point where I want to see them like actually at work on the decks and stuff. And I don't know, because sometimes I won't always rave, and I'll just sometimes stand there and I'm just watching what the DJ's doing, because sometimes it's fascinating. And Whitby's one of them where he's like real fast on the mixer, and he's like up and down with the faders, and just all these effects. And sometimes I think I want to do stuff like that. I want to be that sort of person as well. And it's so inspiring. So I'm always like taking note, and I'm always thinking, right, that set was good, that set was good, rather than just like it's all, oh, it's banging music. And Whitby played loads of stuff like From Elysium to Special D, Come With Me, to Fly on the Wings of Love, What's Going On, In Your Head Zombie, that Bounce Projectors with Hazel Eyes, which it's not a bad song. That I'm not overly keen on it, to be honest. It reminds me of just like a rip of a modern chart tune, and it's not really my style. I like to go back and remix older stuff, to be fair, because a lot of people tackle new stuff all the time now. And sometimes if you go back and do something that someone hasn't heard for a while, like when I did Pitbull and I did my remix of Hotel Room, I actually kind of thought, well, do you know what? That was a bit different, and it brought a little bit of a different vibe. And then when I did like Kiss Me Through the Phone and stuff, I thought, yeah, these are going back and tackling like an old forgotten chart tune. And sort of doing that. It might have had a remix like near the time, when it had come out and stuff. But that's years ago now, and people have probably forgotten about that remix of it. And then to hear a little bit of a fresh one that doesn't sound like a vinyl rip, I just thought, yeah, be a little bit nice that. So obviously, that's the style I go for. But yeah, that Hazel Eyes tune, it just doesn't. it's not my favourite. It's just not my favourite in that sense. But the set was banging. Distorted Dreams. I liked their set, but it was a little bit, just a bit too slow and a bit, like every drop was just kind of like boom, 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 boom. Um, you know, with these like sort of similar drops, and I just thought, you know what, it just needs pitching up a little bit. It just needs speeding up just slightly, and it'll just sound a little bit better. It just sounded a bit slow, and to follow that on from Whitby, who's playing bounce and playing it a bit faster and quick mixing and double dropping, it just kind of felt like like you just have this great performance and then just a drop into like sort of something that just sounded, a little bit slow and a little bit like it just needed a little something to it um, to sort of carry on from what Whitby did really. But other than that, still banging set, banging night, and like I say, I think we got home probably about 3:30, 4:45. And I was more or less straight up to bed, more or less, apart from giving the cat a stroke and just, taking my coat and that off and going to the toilet. And then that was like literally it. That was like literally the score. That's what went down. So, absolutely belting weekend. Great people. Like I say, going to that Sean's party was. It was kind of like, obviously it wasn't last minute, like I knew sort of in advance that I was going to go, but originally I wasn't planning to go because I just thought I've got so much stuff happening myself. And then but then when this girl like had sort of, or like we had a picture together at the warehouse and stuff, and I just kind of thought, did we? And then she actually showed me, and I was like, oh, we actually did. And I actually didn't know who it was. I didn't recognise who it was. I didn't know who it was. And then obviously it was just like, oh, actually, and then obviously now we've just sort of like become a bit more like friends. So it was nice. It was like making a friend as well. And then saying like, oh, come, you'll come to the event, won't you? And then obviously, yeah. So I did. And like I say, it was a good vibe, and she got me a drink, which was really nice. I mean, it's normally the blokes that should get a lady a drink, and I did actually say, I did, look, I'll get you a drink back, and she was actually like, oh no, you're all right. It doesn't matter. Don't worry about it. And I was like, well, I'm not a. I don't take off people. Do you know what I mean? I've got no issue in getting somebody a drink back if they've got me a drink, and being nice and stuff like that. And I always do. If someone gets me a drink, I always get them one back. It's like you got me one, so I'll get you one. Next time I'll get you one, kind of thing. Just something you do. But she was like, no, you don't worry, you don't have to. And I'm like, like. The chance here for you to have a free drink. But yeah, absolutely belting vibes. Good weekend. Bounce to your drop next weekend. That's the next gig for me. So make sure to like, comment, share. Peace.